I've been trying to film this for about 6 weeks now, and well, you're probably going to have some questions. I'm probably going to miss a few points, and hey, I've got some notes. So yeah, this is an interesting one. I broke myself, and a lot of you saw it coming. A lot of you saw it coming. But repairs are progressing nicely, and I can see, to add a trite saying, I can see the light at the end of the sphincter that is my old life, shall we say. We live in a world where mental health and all of that sort of stuff, I should probably put that on silence. There was a reminder to give Sam Falloon a compliment this morning. We live in a society where mental health is now coming to the fore. COVID had something to do with that, and there's been somewhat of a shift change. And I had previously burnt out when I gave over management to Crimson Guitars, to the first MD, who's no longer with us. And that's a perfect example, actually. When you are burnt out, you stop caring about the things that you previously were excited by, were loved, things you loved, things you were passionate about, and you just stop caring. You think, hey, I might not even like this anymore. And when you have a job as freaking awesome as what I have, and you don't really want to actually get up in the morning, that's a bit of a problem. Now, burnout is not just what you guys are thinking. It's not just overwork. It's not the 80 hours, 80-hour weeks, which, I mean, frankly, I still enjoy doing. I will still enjoy doing. I really will. It's not just that. There are other ways that people burn out, and it's not common knowledge. Obviously, overwork, and having too many things, too many cool ideas, too many passions, too many hobbies. In my life, I get to do pretty much anything that I fancy if it makes sense for Crimson, sometimes if it doesn't make sense for Crimson or for my life or for the YouTube channel, I just keep on going. There is also burnout through neglect. There is burnout through being in a social group where you're basically ignored, and your needs and wants and thoughts and desires are just steamrolled over It's not a good feeling. And there's another type of burnout that I didn't realize was potentially, and in the past certainly has affected some staff and some former staff of mine at headquarters, and that's through not being challenged enough. And if you are just existing and you have you've got the same role, the same thing, you're just a cookie cutter in a cog, nobody really cares about what you're doing, your boss doesn't really give a crap, and you're just existing, that is another form of burnout, and it's a killer just as much as the more visible, hey, yo, I'm making 4 million, I said yo. So watch out for these things. I personally have, in various parts of my life, experienced all three over the last number of years. And it all came to a head. Glastonbury was the last major thing. It was huge hours, massive overstimulation, of course, and hey, I will do it again over and over and over with pleasure. But at Glastonbury, it was a transformative experience. My life changed, and I decided that I needed to make some major changes to both my personal and professional. lives. Some of you know my ex and I, we were having a very amicable divorce. The kids could not be happier, literally. There's obviously a lot of emotional turmoil and a lot of crap that goes along with that, but everybody knows it is absolutely for the best. I'm trying desperately to not overshare here. And that's part of it. Another thing is I'm diabetic, type 2 diabetic, so self-inflicted is the term I use most of the time. Interestingly, while thousands and thousands of you knew that I had ADHD, I did not. Every now and then it crossed my mind, and this goes back to our former opinions on mental health. Every time it occurred to me, maybe I've got ADHD, my immediate thought was, that's just one of those things that somebody says when they, want an excuse for how they are. But you knew, and I suppose I did as well. Anyway, it turns out that ADHD is not necessarily being easily distractible. Can somebody say squirrel? It's an inability to prioritize. Everything is the most important thing in the world for the 2 minutes that you're looking at that. And then when you walk past something else, you look at your camera case and you go, oh my God, I need to sort that out. There's, crap in there from when I went to the Victoria and Albert Museum. Or, oh, I've got 2 batteries in there that need to be charged. I need to put those on right now. And you forget what you were doing beforehand. I am now on ADHD medication, which I'm not going to go on too long about all of this. I'm trying to speed through. Ask questions in the comments. ADHD is an issue where your body does not create enough dopamine, one of the happiness chemicals in your body. And without that, it genuinely is intensely difficult to get up in the morning. It is intensely difficult to feel passionate about anything. You are operating 20, 30, 40% below the normal operating level of most people. Now, one of the ways that, and here's my excuse, one of the ways that people self-medicate is through food. You'll notice I've lost a little bit of weight. Sadly, I can't take credit for that. The amphetamines that are the drugs for ADHD are also appetite suppressants. That, when you have diabetes, really scuppers things. Now, I used to overeat, and you eat carbohydrates and things like that because those give you the dopamine that you don't have. Other people form drug habits, such as caffeine. Oh wait, I still drink a lot of caffeine. Smoking, etc. There's lots of ways, but my eating and the amount of food and what I ate was a self-medication for the ADHD. Appetite suppressants, diabetic, my body needs a certain amount of food. I've spent the last 6 months or more now completely relearning from the ground up how I react to food, to the point where I've realized that if I don't drink enough water, and for me that's a hell of a lot of water, I'm intensely irritable. And the last thing I want to be is an irritable, curmudgeonly bastard. I want my grandkids, if I am graced with some, to call me Grumpy, but that's the name that I've chosen. Call me Grumps, Grumpy. But I want it to be ironic. I want to be the happiest motherfucker out there. That hasn't been the case recently. I've done so much self-reflection, and that is alien to me. And if any of this is sparking anything in your brain, please sit down and think and consider it, because it's been intensely difficult, but also the best thing I've ever done for myself, ever, bar none. I'm basically on the mend. The meds are now sort of evening out. I'm knowing what and how often and how much I can eat and drink. And on top of that, how I react to situations, how I work has changed. I cannot for the life of me, have a workshop with people walking through left, right, and centre, and you guys at the other end of a camera. I can't do it. I have to film in a private, closed off space. We're going to have a custom made red sign saying "F off." That's going to go outside my door. I'm building a new workshop at headquarters, and it's going to be in a room with a door, with a lock, with a red sign. I'm filming. Please leave me alone. I've identified the problems, and I've identified a few fixes, more than a few fixes, and I am very excited about how it's developing. So obviously I'm going to be moving house. I'm going to have another home workshop, a new home workshop, smaller, more concentrated, mainly based on repairs, with a little bit of carving and bits and pieces. I'm going to have a new workshop at headquarters as well, private, just for me, just for this sort of stuff. I'm going back. I've taken the last 6-8 weeks off. I have not been going to headquarters. I've still been doing my admin duties, my sort of the boss stuff, helping to run the company and that, but that's a lot of that is done in meetings and over the phone, and I am so lucky in the team that I've got at Crimson. Tom, Ricky, Sam, in particular in the sort of management-y kind of roles, they have been nothing short of miraculous and amazing, and I genuinely appreciate them doing what they're doing and putting up with me while I've been going through this. I also appreciate you guys sticking around, seriously. So that's part of it. I've identified the problems, and I'm adjusting my life and my situation and how I work in order to combat those issues. Instead of people being able to come to me with questions every 5 or 10, 20 minutes and me answering the question and then going straight back to what I'm doing and being able to concentrate, I have to set aside time and say, okay, hey, in an hour and a half, I'm going to walk through the business. I'm going to ask people, I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to go back, I'm going to zone back in and do the guitar build, the repair, the teardown, whatever I'm filming, whatever I'm working on. The burnout through a lack of stimulation is actually genuinely a part of the issue. You guys don't need to see me routing yet another humbucker cavity. You don't need to see me doing yet another level crown and polish or any of that sort of stuff. Anybody, come to Crimson Guitars, do a 5-day course, having never touched a tool in your life. You will do all of those things and more and come away with a finished instrument. You don't need to see me do that. What excites me, what stimulates me, what gets my brain buzzing is the strange, the weird, the wonderful. If you're not living life on the edge, you're taking up too much space, is something that I say a lot. It was an advert that I saw for a bungee jump company in Zimbabwe, and it stuck with me, and it's true. I enjoy pushing myself. I enjoy learning new skills. I really love learning. I also really love teaching, and I am still going to be doing guitar builds. There will still be builds on the channel. There will still be series where 4 or 5 videos maybe, but I'm not going to be doing a 30 video series following start to finish every single process with just me doing it. I'm going to be collaborating with the fantastic luthiers at headquarters, and Matt will go and he'll take the body, probably film a little bit, but he'll do the routing and we'll beast through that. The guitar will come to me and I will do some ornate carving, or I will learn water gilding, or well, any number of ideas that I've had over the years that are still just ideas, things that I've always wanted to do that have not happened. I 100% want to partner up with Swarovski and make a guitar completely covered in sparklies, and figure out how to do that and learn jewelry making techniques, learn gilding techniques, learn different molding techniques. I want to cast things out of bronze. I want to play with molten metal. I want to learn how to focus on one single idea at a time. You on this channel are going to start seeing more of the videos that it seems by amount of views you want. I'm going to find an interesting guitar that comes into the Dorset Guitar Museum or for repair or through the daily guitar drawer, and I'm going to do a teardown. We won't level, crown, polish, we won't give you the boring stuff. That might be in the background of the video, but you know, it's not the focus. We'll talk about the history, we'll talk about the weight of the guitar, the pickups, when they were invented, the interesting stuff, the one-off videos, the focused videos. This is how Ben cuts a guitar nut. Guitar building 101, as it were. And it's also things that I can, if I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, I don't have to film all day every day as I do when I'm building some massive guitar. I can film, you know, 2 or 3 a day of those tutorial style videos and keep the stuff coming even if I can only work half days, for example. I've had a lot of thought about the focus of my life. Can somebody say midlife crisis? I was seen out in public the other day wearing leather jeans. It must be said. Not going to get a motorbike, sadly. What excites me and the purpose in my life is not making guitars. It is not even trying to make Crimson into a successful company. It's not necessarily giving luthiers tools to people and all of that. It is teaching, it's inspiring, it's promoting other creative people, it's helping other people reach their full potential, and it's about getting, seriously, when I go to a guitar show in the UK where there's loads of boutique builders and things around, and I go around and the people who are making a living or part of their living through building guitars who say, hey Ben, I started building guitars when I was 15 because I wanted to do one for my GCSEs, and I saw your videos and I've been a fan ever since and you've helped me, this is now my career. And that happens time after time after time. Hearing that is one of the most edifying and amazing things that a person can hear, and I want more. Okay, so I started doing that through Great Guitar Build-Off, which was a perfect example of how I go completely overboard. The idea was myself, a few other builders, invited in, compete against each other, give people something to watch. Straight away people asked to build along. Build along was the term used. And of course I go, whoa, we can get sponsors in, we can get charities involved, we can auction off guitars, I think was the original idea. We can raise money for charity, we can get, we can sell tickets, we can have Next thing I know, there's 400 people competing, there's a full-time administrative role for somebody, and 3 years later, Crimson itself has lost tens of thousands of pounds. Tens and tens of thousands of pounds. It was not pretty. It was not good for us as a company. But hey, everybody enjoyed it. But it's not the core. It's not the core. And I suppose this is where I say that GGBO in its current incarnation is not going to be happening in the same way next year. We'll potentially do a video, we'll talk about this at the end of this year's competition, but next year the plans are that we are going to scale it back to the very original idea, with a few people in the actual competition, as it were, and members of the public building along. No tickets, no voting, no full-time administrative role, no overly complex website and forums and all of that sort of stuff. People who are passionate, taking an idea and building it, and everybody building the same thing. For example, I think the idea is potentially I will say this year I'm going to build a tele thin line, for example, or a 62 reissue tele, something like that. But I'm going to, make it mine. And anybody who wants to can build the same, a similar guitar with their twist. And there's no pressure, there's no judging, there's no prize money, because repeatedly through talking to people in GGBO, that's not why they do it. They're doing it because they like building guitars. They're not doing it to win or for a prize or anything. So that's one of the things. And I had to make the decision for myself, do I continue putting in weeks and weeks and weeks of thought and time and effort and brain energy into GGBO or the museum? The thought was, can I even do the Dorset Guitar Museum? Or is that something that I have to spin off and give to somebody else? And hey, if you know about museums and fancy volunteering some time, give us a shout. I love Crimson Guitars. I love our guitar building school. We teach 300, 400, 500 people a year how to build guitars. We get them out in the world, making more guitars. That is epic. I genuinely love designing guitar building tools, or just tools in general. A lot of people have realized guitars are not the point. For me, a lot of the point is actually using, collecting, making, playing with tools, creating physical things. It just happened that guitars are the medium through which I do that. And I love guitars as well. Yeah, that is still the case. But my real focus and what I think will be my life's work, he says in midlife crisis mode, I think my masterwork is going to be the Dorset Guitar Museum. I have plans. And if the plans that I have, he says very carefully, avoiding telling you everything I've got planned. If what I have planned is possible and goes ahead, we're not talking about just making a museum where some people get to come and look at some guitars. You all know already people are going to be coming and actually physically playing the guitars, but that is not it. I've got an idea that could materially, measurably, literally, completely change the musical landscape of the world. Mainly the UK, but seriously big stuff. Only Ben Crow can sit down and say, I'm going to find a way to chill the F out and relax and focus and, dial down my life. And in the process of that, realize that what he wants to do is actually orders of magnitude bigger and more complex, but also more important than everything else he has been doing. So there's going to be, once I've got everything dialed in and a team in place and things like that, you're going to see some seriously interesting shit. To end this, because I'm already going long, on the channel, you are going to see far more focused videos. You are going to see, as I said, actual tutorials. Instead of, at the moment, if you want to learn how I fret a guitar, for example, you have to, within a whole build series, find the video, find the point where I do it, and do that. I'm going to do tutorials where the title is, let's refret X. Let's put frets in a new fretboard. This is how you do trapezoidal inlays, etc. And from a learning point of view, that is going to happen. We are also working on our online guitar building school. That is going to be, and this is me going back to what I've found to be the most important things, and long held plans. I have wanted to have a proper online guitar building school for more than a decade, and I've just decided, screw it, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. And I've also figured out the easy way to do these things that don't involve destroying myself again. I love learning even more than I love teaching you guys what I've learned. I'm going to be taking my camera to cool places. I'm going to be visiting cool people in their workshops, and I'm going to be learning from them and taking their craft and their skill and applying it to our passion of guitar building. I'm going to go and learn gilding and jewelry making and silversmithing. I'm going to be sintering down gold and turning it into inlays, for example. All of these sorts of things. And if I can get that passion for learning across to even a few of you and get you guys interested in all of these things, I've long said, grab your inspiration from outside of your field and you will come up with interesting and beautiful things. Surround yourself with beautiful things and you will be inspired and you will make beautiful things. And that is the plan. So shorter, more concise videos, lots of luthiers teardowns where I investigate what other builders and other makers have done to create these guitars. I have got some seriously cool guitars to build as well, and they will be built. But instead of 20 videos, you'll get that in 3 or 4 or 5. More focused, more interesting, hopefully as entertaining. Also, hopefully something that for the long term means that I don't drop off the map for any more time. I truly and sincerely love you guys. I truly appreciate you waiting around and watching and coming back, and your support means the world to me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting Crimson Guitars. Thank you for coming to the Guitar Building School, for buying our tools, for going to Daily Guitar Draw and helping to create the museum. This is the first part of what is going to be insanely big. Lots going on, lots happening, but in a far more focused way, with a lot more help from my friends and the team at Crimson Guitars. So, yeah, that's the long and short of it. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.